It's this epic disaster. We're starting small today.
Yeah, let's start
Starting
small.
quiet.
Let's be quiet.
Reserved.
Let's do an ASMR podcast.
Kind of back, kind of, and I don't know what I'm saying, but Hi everyone, how are you?
How are you?
It's this epic disaster. We're back. I'm feeling a little loopy today. I'm Fruit Loopy.
Looptastic.
I was trying to find a nickname for myself this week. I didn't get a lot of help on the internet. I posted it on my Facebook page. By the way, if you want to follow me on Facebook, Rick Baldwin Official, just follow me. Go ahead.
What was my suggestion?
I don't know. No one was helpful.
I
posted. See, I've always wanted a nickname. I've never had a nickname. I posted some suggestions, and no one took them seriously.
Do you want something like just like a part of your name, like Ricky?
No, I hate that. I changed that.
Okay.
See, so when I was years ago, I was working for a theater company, and the guy I was working with, we were trying to come up with some nicknames, and he suggested The Edge. I was like, well, okay, but that's taken.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's not like they're like, okay, so Cornbread is a good nickname.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of guys with the nickname Cornbread. There's not just one Cornbread in the world.
Well, I've never heard of anybody with the nickname Cornbread. I'll be awesome. I'll be awesome with you.
Yeah, I mean, I like Cornbread, so that's a good nickname.
But I think that you'd be a better stretch.
Well, maybe. Okay. I remember when I was a kid, they had this basketball exhibition, and so it was like these, and I think they were from college. But I was a little tiny. I was an elementary school kid, so elementary school, even high school, people look like grown adults.
Right.
Sorry, I'm raspy today. But anyway, so they had all these guys, and they were doing a slam dunk contest, and there was this big guy who I remember had long blonde hair, and he had these big old arms and legs, and then his name was Spider.
Spider.
And I thought that was kind of cool, Spider. So I thought Spider would be a good nickname.
Isn't there a movie with a guy with a nickname Spider?
Probably. It's a popular nickname.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
I mean,
So why don't you some of our listeners give themselves nicknames.
Well, okay, so what I was going to say is the guy in the theater, he ended up saying Ritz.
Ritz.
He wanted to call me Ritz,
like
which I didn't.
Putting on the.
I didn't like that, but he was convinced that should be my nickname because it sounded like my actual name. So, but I've just never had a nickname. Daggone it! I want a nickname.
Daggone it!
You know what it is? Live beer review. That's my nickname. Let's do a live beer review.
Call you LBR.
All right. So I'm going to do a little bit of background. So this week I drove up to Chattanooga, Tennessee. I don't know if you've ever driven to Chattanooga, Tennessee. It's a nice place to hang out.
As a matter of fact, I have.
You've spent some time there.
Yes, I have.
But while I was in Chattanooga, Tennessee, I went beer shopping. I don't know if we need to explain what a moon pie is. Do we need to explain? Did you know what a moon pie was before you went to Chattanooga?
I had heard of such a thing.
Did you?
Yes.
So most people know what Little Debbie's are.
Then again, I had a father who grew up in Kentucky.
That's true.
So moon pies.
Moon pies are very southern.
Yeah.
But not exclusively. I mean, I hear about it in other places, but I always think it's funny when I hear, like, on Twitter or something like that, somebody who posts and they'll be like, I just discovered these moon pies. This is the most awesome thing in the world.
And then you say, well, if you're going to have a moon pie, you got to have it with an RC Cola.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are southern kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people who aren't from this area or not from the South don't know what a moon pie is. So check it out. I'm not even going to tell you. Well, no, I will too. Moon pie, two cookie. It's like a sandwich. It's a cookie sandwich. It's big. It's a big cookie sandwich. How big is that? That's about 8 inches?
They aren't that big.
No,
they used to be, but they're not anymore.
6 inches maybe? So, I guess what I'm trying to... No, they're bigger than that. What I'm trying to get at is they're not like a normal cookie. They're like it's a big kind of cookie cake that is sandwiched in between. There is marshmallow sandwiched in between, and then the whole thing is like dunked in chocolate.
Which is why I don't like it.
Well, because of the marshmallow?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a marshmallow fan either, but that is what a moon pie is, and I think
and sometimes they're covered in a yellow.
Yes, you can get
chocolate?
them. Yep.
Is it actually lemon flavored?
No,
it's just yellow.
It's like, I don't know why it's yellow.
It's just white chocolate, maybe.
I don't know if I think it's bananas. Now that I think about it, I feel like that there is a banana flavored moon pie.
That shit is bananas.
Yeah. But now I believe they have them in strawberry and all kinds of stuff. Ooh. But used to, you just got like the two flavors.
The chocolate, yeah. So I opened
the reason why I went through all of that is to explain
Yeah.
that I bought in Chattanooga this week when I went beer shopping
A beer.
this beer, which is
Moon Pie. Naked River Brewing Company's Moon Pie. It is a chocolate moon pie stout.
there you go.
Stout with natural flavors. I'm not sure they're calling a moon pie natural flavors, but okay. It says, the brew that hung the moon. This incredibly rich, smooth, and creamy beverage is brewed with 100% fresh-baked moon pies in collaboration with Moon Pie, an all-American iconic snack made with pride by Chattanooga Bakery, Inc. Moon Pie became famous as the working man's lunch. Now our Moon Pie beverage is the working man's reward. So that's what they have to say about it.
Don't we have a friend with a dog named Moon Pie?
We do. Well, I don't know if Moon Pie is still with us.
Oh, yeah?
But that was my ex-roommate and your wife ex-roommate's friend's dog.
Yeah, I remember.
Little Boston Terrier.
I think he came over and visited one Thanksgiving.
Moon Pie.
Moon Pie the dog.
Now, this particular...
That's a very very Chattanooga name for a dog.
This particular Moon Pie has 8.5% alcohol by
Hello.
volume. And these, the cans that you've purchased for us today
Yes.
are pint-sized cans.
Pint size.
And they're cute.
Yeah.
They have like kind of the iconic Moon Pie, but they can. We had a beer recently that had a woman's likeness on it, and she wasn't happy about it because
right.
she didn't give permission.
This
strictly
they have the
says
rights.
that it's in
Yes.
association
Yeah.
with Moon Pie, so they have the Moon Pie dooley hickey thing on
I
there.
will tell you, I've smelled it.
Yes,
I
and
smelt it.
you dealt it.
I didn't dealt it, but I smelt it, and it doesn't smell very chocolatey. It doesn't smell moon pie-ish
Moonpish.
to me. Is that me? Do you smell chocolate?
I smell stout. I smell
Okay.
beer. That's
All right, so now I'm going to taste it. Let's see what it tastes like here. Here we go.
nope.
Oh, I taste it.
Do you really?
Okay. It's a very subtle taste.
It's like, okay, my question is this. In that first sentence there, it says, this incredibly rich, smooth, and creamy beverage is brewed with 100% fresh-baked moon pies. So what does that mean?
They
Do
put moon pies in there.
They put whole moon pies
All right.
into the barrel with the beer that is brewing?
Let me tell you.
How does that work?
Let me tell you. So
That's disgusting.
we've had chocolate stouts on this show before.
Yes.
And so what I thought was, how is this going to be different from the other chocolate stouts? I can taste, and maybe you can't yet, but I can taste a very, very subtle marshmallow taste in there. And it gives it that little, I will say it's a very subtle taste of moon pie, but it gives it that moon pie flavor.
It makes it moonpish.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm not there yet.
I got it.
I might get there.
That's a
but,
moon pie right there.
Okay.
Moon pie beer. We're going
Moon
to
pie beer.
We're going to suck on this beer throughout the podcast. And at the end of the podcast, we'll tell you what we think of it. And if we like it, then maybe you'll go out and buy one as well if you want to.
Because that's what we do. Every week here on the podcast, we do a live beer review just for your information, not for any enjoyment, not for our information. It's just for your information.
Today, I became a free man.
Whoop.
I have been released from jury duty.
Nice.
Duty.
You said duty.
As listeners may know, for the past 2 months, I didn't realize jury duty, grand jury duty, goes on for 2 months.
But it's only 2 days a week, and it's only a few hours out of the day.
But it's still 2 months.
Right.
It's been going on for a while. My entire 2020 has been involved in grand jury.
Pretty much.
So today was my last day. Now, we are commanded not to talk about the cases. We are commanded not to mention what happens behind the doors.
Exactly.
In grand jury. We got to hear 400 cases around that.
Wow.
And decided whether those people went on to a trial. And it was a very interesting process. Now that I am a free man.
That's not what you decided. You didn't decide if they would have a trial.
Yes.
You decided if they would be indicted.
No, they were already indicted. We were presented with the indictment. With the indictment we had in our hand, we determined whether there was enough probable cause for them to go to trial. And if there was enough probable cause for them to go to trial, we said go to trial. Otherwise, we're like, there's not enough evidence for this to be anything, so let it go. The indictment was the paper that they handed to us with the charges on it. That they're indicted at that point.
Okay.
We can clear this up next week.
Okay.
And the reason I'm saying that is next week on our program, we actually have a live guest.
Like a person?
Yeah, not like the dead guests we usually put on the show.
Yeah.
They never talk. They just sit
so
there.
Quiet.
But we're actually going to bring a live one in. I have invited the four-person, the head of our clan, the head of our group, the head of the grand jury pool, will be with us next week to discuss all the fun, juicy stories that happened.
That's exciting.
And it is because there's some cases we're going to talk about.
I can't wait to meet this four-person.
But she's fun. I asked her if she'd be on the show. She's all excited. So she's going to show up for next week. So
Nice.
We'll talk a lot about legal stuff, I guess.
Okay.
So you'll find out a little more about the process. But
I'm very interested.
It was a fun experience. I'm kind of glad it's over.
Yeah.
But
It's hard to commit to be somewhere twice a week at a specific time on a specific day.
yeah, the actual thing wasn't so bad, but just the actual doing the thing kind of got to be a pain.
This is why I don't watch like episodic shows.
Well, you binge watch everything.
I
You
know.
could be like a binge jury.
What I
jurist.
do is like if somebody says, "Oh, there's this new show out and they're releasing an episode every Monday," I'm like, "Okay, how many episodes?" And they're like 10. I'm like, "Tell me in 10 weeks. I'll watch it then."
Well, we're going to talk about specifics next week, but I do want to talk about one part of this experience. And that is something everyone experiences when you go to the courthouse. And that is
Anxiety.
That is going through the checkpoint. You can't go to a courthouse anymore without going through a metal detector
Yes.
and a screening.
Yes.
First of all, I would like to point out that I am very sympathetic and understanding of the people who have this job. It's their entire job all day long to search people, to check people, to make sure someone's not coming in with a knife, a gun. I mean, they're the people that are going to keep tragedy from happening.
Right.
So I understand this. I know
Okay.
this is a fact. It's the same way with airplanes and airports and
Sure.
stuff. You got to have the checkpoint people. But I will say that I think some of them might need a little more training.
And why would you say that?
So it really depended upon who you got as to how thorough you were checked. And not only that, but how pissed off they were when they were checking you.
What people are pissed off checking you?
They're just in a bad mood.
Well, everybody has a bad
So
mood.
here's what
Everybody has a bad day.
Here's what I discovered. So like the first day that I went through and I had everything in my pockets.
Right.
And then I realized, oh, this is a bad idea. So
Yeah.
I stopped bringing my phone in because you can't use your phone on grand
Nope.
jury. They take it up.
Right.
So I was like, I can't have it here anyway.
Leave it in the
and
car.
it's a problem. Why don't I just leave it in the car? So I started leaving my phone in the car. And then I started leaving anything that's extra in my pocket. Like I've got a wallet, but then I've got a card case and a money clip and things like that. So I thought, I'm not going to do that. They make you take your belt off. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh, well, I'm going to stop wearing a belt.
Okay.
So I started wearing suspenders, which is weird because there's just as much metal, if not
On
more, on
suspenders.
suspenders. But
Yeah.
you can't take them off when you're standing there because they're buttoned and everything.
Right.
So, and they're more understanding of that. It's really just to prevent a lot of people with the same thing from setting off the alarm. So there's like a belt, all the belts come off. If you've got suspenders, they might let it go.
Right. Okay.
They were okay with the suspenders. They were like, oh, you're wearing suspenders. But I think if everyone had suspenders, they'd be
Right.
like, everyone take your suspenders off, which would be really difficult.
This is a very strange group of people.
But I noticed something.
What?
Most people did what they were told.
Uh-huh.
Every once in a while, you would get some dude is just mad about having to do all of that. Didn't want to take his belt off. And let me just say, I understand. I wouldn't want to do that either.
Yeah.
Didn't want to empty his pockets.
Right.
They would make him go through 2 or 3 times. He would complain every single time. And I started watching him as like every time one of those people would go through, they would make him take off more stuff. They would like pay him back for
Yeah.
his gripiness.
Yeah, because they can.
And I remember one guy, he was just going off. He just didn't like it. And then he finally went through and got on the elevator and left. And the woman was like, has he never come into a courthouse before? I
Right.
mean, does he not know this is a federal courthouse? You you have to do this. We're not just doing this for fun.
We're not just making him do it.
Yeah.
Everybody in line is waiting for him to get through.
But it's inconvenient, and but still, it's just like some people were really nice and really friendly, and some people just, you could tell they didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
And I don't know, they were just, some people would let you go, and then other people would search you harder. Mm-hmm. So for the same stuff, there wasn't like a standard. It was just like depending on who you got.
Yeah, you don't get standardized customer service when it comes to security checkpoints.
So today I wore my yoga clothes. I wore my my big flowy yoga shirt, my yoga pants, and I took only my wallet and my keys. And I put them in the little thing to go through the
X-ray.
The X-ray. And I walked through, and for the first time in 2 months, I didn't set the alarm off.
Good for you.
It was awesome. I was like, okay, so everybody needs to dress like a guru.
Yes.
In order to go to the courthouse.
Or wear some sort of martial arts gi.
Or naked.
You
could do that. Some guy today was like, now I have a titanium hip. I hope I'm not going to set it off. But, they probably get people like that. I don't know if he said it exactly like I just said it, but it was close.
I have plate in head.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I'm sure people have stuff in their teeth and,
You have stuff in your teeth right now.
Okay.
In the front, right there. Just a little bit. Just a little thing.
I have titanium testicles.
Big
But
holes.
I keep them at home in a jar.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Wow. You just touched on a lot of things there, namely testicles.
It wasn't me touching them.
You reminded me of my cat's balls.
Yeah, we talked about those a while back.
Yeah, I'm going to just leave that. If you want to know about my poor cat's testicles, please go back to, episode something.
No one wants
and
to know.
listen to that episode.
What they do want to know is what we would rather do.
Which I've been trying to get you to do.
Well, I got to
You got
tell
stories
my story.
to tell.
Yeah.
You got stories to tell. Here, you're going to go first.
I'm going first?
Yeah.
You're going to let me drop the blue in first?
You think it's going to be blue?
I know it's going to be blue.
Okay. Oh my gosh, it's blue.
I told you. I know it was. We did it on video last week. I dropped a green. I don't know why you're so surprised that I'm psychic, because I told you I could tell you every time, and this is 2 in a row that we have documentation.
What's that saying? Even the monkey could type out the Bible given long enough?
I did it 2 weeks in a row, and I've done it other times too. I think everyone out there by now knows my psychic abilities, and I don't even have to prove it anymore.
Okay, then
What's
let's
my
just
blue one?
make it not a thing.
I could tell you what the question says, but I'm not going to.
Please do.
It's got the word wheel in it.
Actually, no, it doesn't.
They were going to put it in, and then they decided at the last minute to take it out.
All right, while listening to this question, please decide where the word wheel would go.
Okay.
All right. So would you rather have to apologize on national television for marital infidelity
Okay.
or a sexual shortcoming?
What is a sexual shortcoming?
So
My wiener's really small?
yeah, or doesn't do much.
I can't do anything?
Yeah.
Well, they shouldn't be making fun of that.
I don't think that you should have to apologize for
No,
that.
that's a disease. It's like saying are you going to apologize for being blind?
That's weird.
Wrong. That question's...
Okay, so maybe what they're saying here, and I'm just going to put my own
wheel on it.
Yeah.
It's going to be in your wheelhouse.
Whoop. Yes.
I told you. I mean...
Okay, so maybe they're saying on national television you have to apologize for the marital infidelity.
Well, I understand that. Like, if I'm a politician, I understand that.
Yes. Or do you just have to apologize? Oh, no, I know what they're saying.
I'd like to apologize to my wife that I can't get it up.
Yeah. But
Why would
but they're
you
going to
do
make
that?
you do it on national television.
But that's ridiculous. That's
I agree.
Stupid.
I agree. I don't think you should ever have to apologize to your partner.
I would go with the first one.
Yeah.
Because that means I'm getting some. And the second,
That means you're not.
you're not. So at least I'm letting people know that I'm getting a lot, including my wife,
And then
which is an
some.
asshole thing. I understand, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying, I would much rather
Be getting
perpetuate
some.
that stereotype that I'm a dude getting laid a lot.
Would you really? Because that doesn't sound anything like you.
I get laid as much as I want to, but I don't talk about it on TV.
Nope.
Although I did just talk about it on the podcast.
Yes, you did.
Maybe I shouldn't have.
Personally, I don't get laid at all. So
Well, you could.
whether I want to or not.
You're not with
anybody,
a person,
ever.
and that's not a requirement necessarily. I mean, you have to be with a person to be late, but you don't have to be with a person like steadily
to get laid.
You could actually purchase a lay.
I could.
Do you think prostitution should be legal?
I do.
Yeah, I do too.
And I think it would be much cleaner. I think it would be much less of a dangerous profession. I think a lot of good things could come out of it. And I think a lot of people would be happier because of it.
Yeah, and there are some bad things and negative things, as there are with almost everything, including some things that are legal. But that hasn't stopped them from being legal. But I believe that.
But I do think prostitution while driving should be illegal. It should be under the DUI, driving under the influence.
Influence of what?
Prostitution. Like if you're getting a blowjob while you're driving a vehicle.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I think that should be illegal.
Well, that's not prostitution. No one should have sex while they're
driving. I agree.
Have you ever had sex while you were driving?
I have.
Okay.
I have. It's not a smart thing to do.
No, it's not. I will admit that I did. I participated in that. I was a giver, not a receiver.
I was both.
I was driving, but I was. Man, how did we suddenly go this low? But it was late at night. I was driving, and I was in my 20s.
Oh yeah.
So
this was a while back.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just silly to do now,
right?
Because we're adults.
And I always think of how much of that stuff truck drivers see, because they're way up there. They got a stage, and I always wonder, if you are a truck driver, how much sexy stuff you see all the time as part of your job, and a lot of it you don't want to see.
Honestly, you don't have to be a truck driver. I was coming home in Atlanta traffic at about 5:00 in the afternoon, which goes about 5 miles an hour down the road, and in the car in front of me, dude man was getting a BJ.
What?
By the woman in the seat next to him.
Huh?
Yeah, and you could totally tell because she just kept coming up and like pulling her hair back, and then she'd reach in the back seat to get like a hair tie, and then she'd put her hair up, and then she'd go back down for more. And he just, was whatever, and they were kissing and making out. And she'd come up occasionally, and she'd go back down.
Oh my
and then I realized that there was somebody in the back seat. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Oh my gosh.
I had to get out of that lane.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, this is keeping my interest because it's entertaining.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering what they're thinking. Like, why would you do this in broad daylight in standstill traffic where everybody can see what you're doing?
Well, I mean, you at least can go through the carpool lane. Get you through that.
And that's the thing. They could have been,
I
but
know.
they weren't. They were right in the middle of everything. All right. Sorry. Anyways.
The only experience like that I've had that I remember, and I think I might have mentioned it on the show before, is I was in Chattanooga. I was at a light, stopped at a light, signal, red light, whatever.
Yeah.
And just sitting there, and then I kind of turned over to, I was a passenger in the car, and I turned to the car, and this limo pulled up. I mean, just right beside us.
Yep.
And in the back seat, they have all these TVs playing porn. So you can't see what's going on in the limo. You can imagine, but you can't see what's going on in the limo. But you can see the porn really, really clear.
So what you're saying is the windows were tinted, which most limos have.
Yes.
But
you could still see the TV because the TV was
lit up. Yeah.
And it's going. I mean, this is hardcore porn.
Could you hear it? Like, did they have the
No.
sunroof open where you could hear it?
And but my thought was, what if it was kids? I mean, I didn't mind, that's fine. But I just thought, what if little kids see this?
Oh yeah.
And that was not too cool.
I thought you meant, what if it was kids in the back of the limo?
The kids on the porn.
The little kids.
Oh man,
Mommy,
now
can
really
we watch
stoked.
the TV?
No, yeah.
We're in a limo. We want to watch the TV.
Is this the Wiggles? Well, sort of,
Sort of. It's a little.
but not the Wiggles you want to see.
No, honey, this is the Jiggles.
Yeah, but that's the only time, and I was like, why? Can you not wait till you get home?
No, some people have fetishes, and one of those fetishes could be having sex in a moving vehicle.
I mean,
You
more
never
power
know.
to them. Let them do it. Let them go.
And they're not driving,
All right.
so they're not responsible.
Your time. Toss your redstone. Now you're going to watch. Look at you. You're looking at it because you're going to make.
Looking at you. I'm looking at your face. Okay. It's blue.
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 All right. Speaking of blue. Appearance and embarrassment. Would you rather have to wear Groucho Marx glasses 24 hours a day? You know what that is.
Yeah.
Or have to wear a rain poncho 24 hours. This might be one of the dumbest questions we've ever had. Groucho Marx glasses 24 hours a day. For those who don't know, that's glasses with the nose and the mustache attached.
That looks like Groucho Marx, but it's much more exaggerated.
Or have to wear a rain poncho 24 hours a day.
Rain poncho would get really hot.
Yeah.
But those Groucho glasses, those are uncomfortable as hell.
And 24 hours a day, which means you got to sleep in them?
Yeah.
I mean...
Oh, okay.
If you got a rain poncho, you'd have to take a shower, which wouldn't work because you're wearing a rain poncho. You would stink, and you couldn't do porn.
Now, if I'm wearing the...
Although, maybe you could. Certain porn you can do quite well.
But with the Groucho Marx glasses on, you couldn't blow your nose. So that would get disgusting. It would just fill up with snot.
And you definitely wouldn't be getting laid unless Mrs. Marx was around.
And she was into snot. I mean, she'd have to be into snot.
She would be like,
that's not
reminds me of Groucho.
With all this
I think that's how she talked. I can't remember.
I don't know. Hey, what do you call a snowman with a six-pack?
Oh, come on. A snowball. I don't know.
An abdominal snowman.
Oh, like a six-pack like that. I thought you meant like beer.
Oh, sorry. Well, we are drinking beer, so yeah. I have a joke for you that I am really kind of excited about.
Uh-oh.
And I want to tell it to you. So I'm going to tell it to you now. I have two.
Are these dad jokes?
They're jokes. They're Cheri jokes.
Okay.
The first one is... If you boil a funny bone, it becomes a laughing stock.
No, that is a dad joke.
No, that's humorous.
That's a dad joke. That's all dad jokes.
I love it.
Not even cool.
I have another one for you. I made a playlist to go hiking with. It's a hiking playlist. It includes music from Peanuts, the Cranberries, and Eminem. I call it my trail mix.
Okay, I got you now. I see what's happening there.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I sort of caught it before it came out, but yeah, sure.
It's pretty great, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That one is thanks to Donnie. Oh, I'm sorry, to what's his name?
You never gave him a nickname, did you?
I did. Undie Taker.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He's the Undie Taker. Sorry, Donnie. Okay. So, thanks for laughing at my jokes that I know everybody did except for Rick. So, I think that, for purposes of that, we should have...
Oh, if only you had that earlier. You could have really used it.
People were still laughing. Like, they didn't even hear anything I said.
Okay, so let's remind people, last week we did do a video of our entire podcast, even though the first part didn't record.
What?
The first part didn't record, remember?
Oh, yes, I do remember. We had to start over.
But the video itself did well. I liked last week's podcast. I liked the video. You didn't like the angle of the video.
I hated the angle of the video.
You had some problems. I'm going to do some adjustments on it. I would like to do some more videos.
I do too.
We don't have to do like full show videos. I don't know. Do people watch the full show videos? If you watch the full show videos, let us know.
Yeah.
If you just watch some of it, let us know. I mean, you can do what you want. If you're listening to the podcast and there's a section you're like, I want to see what they're doing, you can go to the video and check it out.
And check it out because you know the timestamp on it.
Right. So, but I don't know. Do people watch the video? Is it useful? Should we do it? Should we do something else? I don't know. We're just trying to make people happy.
Is that
That's
what we're
we
doing
try
here?
to do.
Is that our goal?
I think so.
That's our vision?
Yeah.
Bringing happiness to the world.
Bringing happiness to the world, bringing happiness to our listeners. Okay. We got a few little listener mails this week. Listener emails, talking mails. So one, you just told us that the Undertaker, sorry,
yes,
sent us some
get it right,
some humor.
Yes, he did.
Our friend Cynthia, who listens to the podcast regularly, occasionally I'll get some mail from her. She wanted to address last week, you talked about the king cake. It was talking about the baby.
How do you not choke on the baby?
She said that most places that do king cakes include and I think you mentioned this, you mentioned this about the donut. They will give you the baby, It's not in the donut. It's not in the cake. They give it to you so that you put it in.
And then you choke the person that you want to.
You're the one that's liable.
Okay, so what you're saying is that I could go get a king cake next
And they're
year.
probably like, we're not telling you to put this baby in the cake.
No.
We can't tell you that.
We're just giving you the baby with the
Some
cake.
people do that.
Yeah,
We're
it's a
not
thing.
saying it. It's one of those things that you could do if you want to, put the baby in the cake. But we're not going to say that you should do it.
Put the baby in the cake.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Okay, so so with the baby in the cake, if I'm putting the baby in the cake, then I know who I'm giving a slice of the cake to.
Well, you like if you're doing it for yourself, just close your eyes, stick the baby, and then you don't know where it is.
Oh.
You push it way down, and then there's a hole in your cake. You're like,
And I
I'll
think
bet
there's
the
actually-
baby's in the hole. You're gonna know.
I'm gonna know where the baby is.
Yeah.
But I think that the whole point of a king cake is that you. What was that?
That was a fire truck that passes by our house every few minutes.
Not what it sounded like, but okay. I think the whole point to a king cake is that you take your own piece, and that's like how you know if it's luck if you won the baby.
I don't know. I mean, if you're eating a king cake by yourself, it's just sad. At that point, that's when you need the king donut. I mean,
somebody brought in a half of a king cake on
that's
Monday.
cool.
Yeah, I didn't eat it. I didn't eat any of it because I was afraid I'd choke on the baby. But they did leave a note that said the baby's already been found.
So I'm going to tell a story that we were talking about Ash Wednesday Mardi Gras last week too, and I usually don't like to tell other people's stories without their permission. But she's not here, so I'll tell it.
Okay.
Somebody from the grand jury, one of the attorneys, told this story. She's Catholic, and so yesterday, Ash Wednesday, yesterday, as we're recording this, as they're listening, last week, something like that.
I'm so confused.
She went to mass and put the ashes on her forehead, and then she came to work, and she said she was in an elevator, and somebody said, excuse me, you have something right here on your forehead. And she said, I know, it's ashes. It's today's Ash Wednesday. And the person said, oh, I didn't know you were Jewish.
But so, okay, another story about Ash Wednesday. Think about it. For me personally,
I know what you're going to say.
that's the best costume on the planet.
Yeah.
Ash Wednesday.
From
Ash would be from Evil Dead.
Yes.
And Wednesday from Addams Family. So, yeah, Ash Wednesday. I'm doing it. I might do it this year.
do a little meme about it.
Because as a matter of fact, I have that entire costume now that I think about it. None of it is currently at my house.
I guess we know what you're going to be doing on Halloween.
Yeah.
Speaking of Halloween, I got a question for you. This is a question I was pondering. I actually asked this question on my Facebook page.
Okay.
Again, if you'd like to follow me, Rick Baldwin Official.
Wow. You're really plugging yourself, and not in a good way.
No, I'm just saying if people want to follow me, they can.
Okay.
Rick Baldwin Official on Facebook. So I posted this, and I was trying to get some answers. I got a few. And this is one of the things I'll talk about. It's kind of interesting. So my question is, and you answered, so I kind of know what you're going to say. Is it, and I don't know how to term this question because you're going to go, of course. But it's like, is it okay, or is it cool, or is it fine?
How about appropriate?
Is it appropriate? Is it acceptable? That's a better thing.
Yeah,
Is it acceptable for a man to wear light makeup, just basic light makeup?
Yes.
And I'm clarifying this because if you like, there are men who will wear heavy makeup for entertainment purposes, and I'm not talking about Kiss. I'm not talking about drag queen, although both of those are fine.
Yep.
And some people wear them like that all the time. Some people wear them more for theatrical reasons. But I guess what I'm talking about is a man wearing makeup the same way that a woman does for cosmetic and appearances for those purposes. What do you think of men who do that?
I think that it's actually a good idea if it makes them feel more comfortable in their skin. And I think that if you ever watched the show that I told you to watch, you would know that they actually make male-specific makeup products now.
Well, I'm aware of that.
They're mostly color corrective skin care, or not skin care, but color corrective skin products like foundations, There's a thing called a green stick, which a lot of men use because as men get older, well, as women get older too, you get red, you get capillaries that burst, especially if you drink like me. You get, things
Gin
like
blossom.
yeah. So they have a green stick, and you use it to just color correct your skin. There's zero wrong with it. I think it helps men to go outside and feel more confident with the face that they're presenting to the world. I also think it's acceptable for a man to put on a bit of mascara, or to put on a bit of eyeliner, or to even wear lipstick or gloss, or whatever they choose.
Well, that's part
or
of the...
if they're feeling very pale, they could put on some rouge.
That's part of the basic makeup I was talking about. And I guess I'm talking a little more about foundation, but I mean, I would suppose that color, lip, and rouge and that kind of stuff is included. So in the question that I put on my Facebook, I think... I'm going to guess 7 women answered and 2 guys answered. Every single woman said, fine.
Yep.
I think it's great. No problem. One guy said, I do it occasionally, a little bit. And then one guy said, no.
Just straight up no?
Not appropriate.
Really?
So the only no came from a dude. The rest of the people are okay with it. And the women said, sure. I would be curious to know what our listeners think of it. And the question is not if you are a dude, would you do it?
No, the question is
and that could be a part of it. Even if you do, that's fine. Then, in fact, if you do, then you're probably going to answer yes.
Right.
But I'm just saying, even if you don't do it, do you find it acceptable for someone else to do it, for another guy to do it?
And this is just for your day-to-day life. This is not for going out at night partying, or maybe it is, but
part of it.
But you're talking about just
going to work, going to church, going to the grocery store,
sure,
daily wear,
right?
So now, and we've talked about this. I was a theater major. I've spent a decent amount of my time in makeup as a drama theater major. I had to learn to put makeup on, but I've only used it in theatrical ways.
Right.
I've really never used it for corrective ways. Now, what I know is that, like, occasionally, like if I was to get a breakout or something, you can buy acne medication that's tinted
with concealer in it.
So it's basically,
or you could just buy a little concealer.
Yeah, it's basically makeup.
Yeah.
And they also have now, for dudes, for men, have moisturizer and sunscreen with tinting in it. So and it's almost like makeup.
Guarantee you it's the exact same product they sell to women, but they put it in a dark container and say for men on it. And it makes it okay. So
I just thought a lot about it because I'm now, I'm middle-aged. And your skin starts changing. The color of your skin's changing. And I'm okay. I mean, I'm totally fine. Like, I'm not a peer pressure guy. I don't care. I've colored my hair before.
Right.
I've changed my hair. I'm growing out my beard color. I'm totally fine. My beard's kind of got a lot of gray in it now.
Yeah.
But occasionally I'm just like, I don't want to see the gray. I want to see something else.
Yeah.
I'm too old to actually color my hair now, I think.
Why? What makes you too old for it?
I'm saying me.
Oh,
I'm not saying general. I'm just saying me.
Oh,
it's too much trouble. I don't want to do it.
Understood.
I don't need it. I don't. But when I was younger and felt a little more adventurous, I would do it.
Okay.
I have considered maybe coloring it black because I think that's what. Oddly enough, even though I have very fair skin, I discovered that I look really good with black hair. I don't mean that in a conceited way. I look better, or I look nice with black hair, darker hair.
I want to interject right here and say that when people say, I'm not trying to sound conceited, but I look good this way. What's wrong with saying I look good?
I'm sorry. So anyway, I look like a sex god with my hair like that. No, I just, I was very surprised the first time I did it because my hair is medium brown with some red in it. In the summertime, it used to, I don't know if it still does, it goes light and sometimes even red. And the first time I did my hair black, I was like, wow. Yeah.
Well, because you have very striking blue eyes.
It just worked.
When you put the black hair with the blue eyes. Now, as a matter of fact, the first time I ever saw a photo of you, before I ever even sent that first initial hi, you, in the picture that I saw, you had black hair and blue eyes. Well, you still have
I think
the
I know
blue
which
eyes.
one you're talking about.
Yep.
And then, but I've also bleached my hair before. and had blonde hair, which doesn't look quite as I don't know. It doesn't fit me as much as it was fun to do,
especially not the style that it was. Do you remember? Okay, I want
it was
everybody.
very Billy Idol. It was just like really spiked and stuff.
But it was also the very spiky, like not white all the way down to the.
Well,
it was like the dark roots with the white.
That
hair.
that was sometime, but I did the Guy Fieri. Yeah.
Yeah, you did the Guy Fieri.
Yeah, but black was better, and the black lasted because the roots. It doesn't matter if the roots grow out a little bit. But I said to heck with it. But I guess what I'm getting at is I don't mind changing my appearances for my own pleasure. Just like I just decide, I think I'll look good like this. So I don't know. I haven't decided if I would actually do it. But sometimes I've looked at my skin. I'm like, wow, I could use some, like if my skin is like really red, or if I like the other day I just didn't. I don't know. I think I got 3 hours of sleep, and it's the first time I ever woke up and looked, and I actually had luggage under my eyes.
Yes.
I'd never noticed that before. And I was like, whoa, I looked ancient. So I don't know. Again, and I'm not a vain person, I don't think. It's just mostly I guess just to kind of even out the appearances. I don't know. I'm not even sure that I would do it, but I just started thinking about it and I checked on it. And then, I mean, I know there's guy makeup and stuff, so I don't know.
Here's how I feel about it, and I'm going to give you somebody to look up and research and maybe look at some of his tips and tricks. When it comes to male grooming, men just go get a buzz cut and shave my beard and I'm groomed. Wash my face. Done. Put a little lotion on. Now, putting a little lotion on wasn't even acceptable until a while back. I mean, a little while back. But male grooming has a lot more to do with just getting a haircut. Male grooming, if you have a beard, you need to care for that beard or else it's going to look all scraggly and gross. You need to trim yourself. You need to look good. It's like manscaping. I mean, if you do a full body, grooming, more power to you. I told you about my roommate in Alaska who would spend all day Sunday, and I swear that shower went for 2 hours at a time, manscaping.
But there's
his
something about that
entire body.
There's something about that that's associated with feminine stuff.
I mean,
I'm not going to say gay or homosexual, although that's a part of it. But I just feel like that some guys feel like if you take that much work on your appearances, that you're girly.
Well, even back then, and this was just. How long ago was this? 10, 12 years ago when my roommate would take that good care of himself, that I even used to call him metrosexual, which
I remember that title.
Has nothing to do with his sexuality.
It was like a 90s thing, wasn't it?
Yes, it has nothing to do with his sexuality. It has to do with the fact that he looks and feels better about himself when he takes care of himself.
That's one of the things I love about Atlanta, and you get it from any big city. But I love so much seeing people who just express themselves visually, whether they're putting spikes in their face or they're doing their hair a different color or their outfits are a certain color, just what they do. There's just so many people who really outside of the box. And as a theater person, I love it. And just walking down the street and seeing that, I get energy off of it. So it's very cool.
The person that I would like you to look up in regard to grooming tips is Jonathan Van Ness.
Well, that's Queer Eye guy.
Yeah, Queer Eye guy. Absolutely love him. And to be honest with you, absolutely love his handlebar mustache. Kind of wish he still had it. But so his grooming tips, and even because, most of the men that he's dealing with, some of them are homosexuals, some of them are, their sexuality is what it is, but most of them are straight.
Yeah.
Now, it used to be the old Queer Eye was always Queer Eye for the straight guy.
Yeah, that's what it was called. Yeah.
The new one is Queer Eye in general for anybody and any person. But again, most of their folks that they work on are straight men.
Yeah.
And
some women.
And women.
I watched the show as a woman, and she was gay, I think.
Well, yeah. I mean, like I
Queer
said,
Eye for the lesbian woman.
It's anybody. That's what I meant. It's anybody. They work on women, men. They help, and they're much more active in the person's emotional and mental well-being as well as their physical appearance.
You ever been attracted to a gay guy? I mean, like, you would go out with that guy if he wasn't gay.
I would go out with him if he was gay. Yes, I have.
I mean, like romantic. He wouldn't go out with you romantically if he was gay.
Yeah, but you know me. I'm gonna obsess about whoever I choose to obsess about.
I found like I always said that I have. I'm attracted to two groups of people that I never have a chance with. One is lesbians, and this is not all, but I'm just saying I find consistently lesbians and Jewish women. I've never been successful with either group.
I mean, I've never been successfully with a gay man. I will put it that way.
Yeah.
But I've certainly been attracted to them.
I have lesbian friends. I mean, you know, a couple of them I would go out with tomorrow.
Well,
there's a couple of them I've actually told that I would.
There's a couple of those same friends I would go out with tomorrow. Unfortunately, they don't live anywhere near here.
They would never go out with me, and that's okay. I mean, I you know, that obviously I'm married now, but I'm just saying, there's something, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just a lot of lesbian women are just so grounded in their strength of human beings.
What does that even mean? What did you just say?
It's just like a lot of times when you meet women who are lesbian, they're very, very confident in who they are, and they express themselves both in feminine and masculine ways, so they're so well-rounded. And a lot of times they're just, I don't know, that a lot of them are very confident. And again, this is very general, but it's just something about, for me, that I just click with. I just find it very...
This is the experience that you've had.
Yes.
And what that experience actually is, Rick, has nothing to do with their sexuality. It has to do with the fact that you are just attracted and magnetized toward confident women.
Oh, I understand that, but that's not what I'm saying.
Whether they happen to be lesbians or not, your experience is confident
You're
women.
misunderstanding what I'm saying. I understand that, but I'm just saying, I mean, that's even a broader term, but I'm just saying, in my experience of meeting lesbian women, I get that a lot more than I get with just generally women. Okay. And I'm just saying, like, my wife is that.
Yeah.
I don't think I would ever suspect my wife as being a lesbian. I have been accused of being gay, and I don't know why. I don't feel like I give off a gay vibe, whatever that is.
I don't know.
But more than once, I've been asked if I am. Maybe it's because of theater or art or whatever. Who knows? But my wife is not one of those people who I would think would give off that vibe generally.
Yeah.
And I know that's a general thing, and it's also, it's not always accurate. But my wife has those qualifications that I'm talking about of being very confident, and she considers, man, this beer is making me burp.
That's a good review right there. This beer makes me burp.
She considers herself, I don't know how, I don't want to say the word wrong, but she does not have a very strong definition of a gender.
Right.
Now, she's not bisexual.
Right.
She's not gay.
Well, sexual orientation has nothing to do with gender.
But I'm just saying she doesn't, I mean, she'll say she's female or woman, but she's just like, I don't even know what all that stuff means.
Right.
I'm just a person.
So I use the term, and I use it lightly, but I use the term gender fluid.
Yeah, a lot of people do.
And for me, I mean, I know, like, my physicality, I am female. My mental and emotional isn't always female.
Right.
So that's what I consider gender fluid. Like, I can relate, and I can get, and some men are gonna be like, no, you can't, because you're not a man. That's fine. They can say that. But I don't always feel feminine, and I don't always feel like a woman, and I don't always feel female. So I have a lot of male energy. I get along with men very well, things like that. And you've mentioned this before in the past. So that's the reason I use that term, gender fluid, because it's not like I can flow from one gender to the next physically, but I can emotionally and mentally.
I would like to do a show at some point about what it is to be a man, because we were talking earlier before we did the show about some issues that I think we'll talk about in the future, and some of it next week we'll talk a little bit about being a dude and being a man, what it means, and how that's sort of changing in society. And some people resist it. Some people don't believe it should. But just the question of what does that mean? What is it to be a man? What is it to be a dude? And I was thinking about that today. I was just like, my generation of what we would say is probably very different from, let's say, the teenagers' generation.
I agree.
What it is to be a male or a man or a guy.
Yep.
I don't even know what those words mean anymore.
I don't either.
But to me, that's kind of exciting. I just to kind of see how the world is changing. You know, I think some people are like, "Oh, the world is changing. I'm feeling insecure. I don't like it."
Well,
but
nobody.
It's just like you just be confident in who you are and let everything change and watch it. You know.
Yeah. Let's just everybody just do that.
Sure.
That'd be great. Let's just do that because that's easy. Let's just make
that's
that
what I
happen.
do.
Okay.
I do.
Okay. So how long do we have? How long do we have left?
We're getting close to the end.
Do we got about 20 minutes?
No.
Oh.
No.
All right.
Why?
Well, I have a question for you, but I will save it for another time.
No, go ahead.
Well, okay.
We got a little bit of time. It's our podcast. We can do what we want.
Well, there you go. I'm confident in that. I have a question for you, which is, if you were to be handed a box, whether it be a small box, huge box, big box, tall box, whatever.
Yeah.
Full of everything in your life up to this day that you have ever lost.
Yep.
Everything in your life that you have ever lost is in this box.
Yes.
What is the first thing you would look for?
Okay. You texted me this, that you said I'm going to ask you this on the show.
Yeah.
I forgot, but I remember. And here's what here's my thought about that. That actually, well, first of all, I couldn't think of what it was. I couldn't think of what it'd be. And I knew there was things because throughout my life, I've lost very important things, and then I've gotten really upset that I could not find them. And I can remember the feeling of having to mentally accept that I was never going to find that thing.
Right.
And just being so frustrated. But it makes me mad because I can't think of a single thing.
Because once it's gone in your brain,
it's out of my head. And I
gone.
started thinking those moments when I was just so pissed off and I just thought, how am I ever going to survive without this thing? I don't have it. And I don't even know what they were.
You don't even remember what they were.
I cannot remember what they were.
But you remember the emotion of losing it and realizing it is actually gone.
Yeah. I can tell you two things that I can. No, I'm just going to say one.
Okay.
One thing. Years ago, I guess when I went to college, I took a lot of my stuff. My dad had a storage facility that he built beside his house, just made out like it was like an old barn, really. Now I take it back. I think it actually started out as a barn. He had some livestock and he had some. They used it as a barn, and then when the livestock was gone, he used it for storage. And so when I went away to college, I put a lot of my stuff in there, and I stored a lot of things, and then I just kind of left it in there, and then one day it burned down, and everything that was in it burned. I, to this day, don't remember everything that was in there.
Nope.
But every once in a while I'll go, oh, I bet that was in there. So I had a lot of writing, a lot of poetry. I had a lot of things that I collected in high school, like high school newspapers, and it was just whatever you collect at that time in your life.
Sure.
So probably some photos and stuff, and then they're gone. And I always wished that I could have those boxes back. So I might say that, but I know that there have been some just as important things that I've lost over the years that, dang it, I can't remember what they are.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show you that something that's so important can eventually just disappear, go away.
Yeah.
I mean, I think about that in relationships when you think about, like, who was it? Somebody that I know broke up with somebody. They were young. They were breaking up. And they were just like, what am I going to do? What am I going to... And you can't say this as a grown-up. You can't say, oh, you'll get over it. I mean,
That's
you
like
can say it, but
stop
it's
being depressed.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But you know that it's true. And I know that I've been through so many relationships and marriages. It's like when it was over, it's just like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
How am I going to survive this?
My whole life
I
is
cannot
about to
survive
change.
this.
Yep.
And people that it's just like, if that person's not in my life, I don't want to live.
Right.
And during those moments, there's just no way to convince your mind anything different. It is the worst. You're never going to get over it. You cannot live your life without this person. It's not going to happen. I have proved to myself that that's not true.
It's not true.
I will say it's never not been painful. It's never not hurt, even when I needed to be out of the relationship.
Even when it was your decision.
Even when it was my decision. And even now, if I look back on it, I can probably connect with that pain in some ways. But I got over it, all of it. Life went on, and there were relationships I got into maybe that were not as good or as healthy as previous ones, but they were a relationship, something that I worked on. I somehow, I don't know how my life coordinated this, but it saved the best for last. But this could end tomorrow.
And then what?
You'd never know who. It could end tragically. It could end stupid or selfishly. You think I'd never have an affair, or my wife would never have an affair. But what if it happened? What if something? You never know. And then suddenly you're like, oh, I didn't think this would ever happen.
Yeah.
Now I'm faced with this.
Your wife could come home tomorrow and say, I just don't want to be married to you anymore.
You get on my last nerve.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to tell you for...
GTFO. Exactly.
I just can't tell you. So you just never know those days are going to happen. It's just life constantly changes. No matter how shitty you feel at any point, and no matter how wonderful you feel at any point, it is going to change.
It's going to change.
You're going to feel totally different at some point. It might be 4 months. It might be 4 years.
Here's the best part.
It will change.
Is that you can sit perfectly still and not do anything, and it will still change.
Yeah.
It's going to change. Yeah, I love that.
But saying that, when you asked me that question, it made me come to that realization that things that were so important in my life that I didn't have, and I just didn't know how I would get along without them, and now couldn't remember a single one of them.
Yep.
It really pissed me off. I was like, damn it.
So if we have time, I'm going to go ahead and tell you what my answer to that
Okay, I
question
want to
would be.
know.
So I have two. I have a very... It's a physical thing, but it has an emotional tie, and then I have something a little more conceptual.
All right.
So the absolute first thing I would go digging for.
Your virginity? Oh, wait a minute.
Actually, no, I wouldn't.
I thought about that today, and I was
I'm
like, no way.
So glad I lost that shit.
Why would you ever want to be a virgin again?
No idea how happy I am I lost my virginity.
I want to be dumb once again.
No.
I don't want to know anything.
I don't want to know
I don't want to have any experience, and I don't want to know anything.
Absolute physical bliss is. No, thank you.
Virgin sex is the worst.
It's absolute worst. Oh my God.
If you're virgin, don't worry about it.
Just don't do it.
We're not condemning you.
Nope. It's fine.
We're just saying, at one point you'll practice.
Just practice.
And you'll realize what we're saying.
So the thing I would absolutely go digging for is something that I, years ago, and I would say this was probably 2001, in a very, very manic state. I was having a severe manic episode. And I took all of my photography equipment.
Oh, yeah.
And negatives and prints and slides and all of my film and all of my paper. And I drove to a faraway and distant land, which was across town. I found a huge dumpster and I threw it all away.
I remember you telling me about that.
And now I didn't just throw my photography stuff away. I threw away every photograph I had of my entire past. I'm talking baby photos of my parents, pictures of my sister and myself, my friends of mine that I can't even remember their names. I would if I had their photos. Things like that. I threw away my past. Having a severe manic episode, I wanted to destroy my past. And that was my goal. And I thought, being a photographer, to me, the easiest way to do that was to throw away every image of my past. And I did it and regretted it within a year. still regret it to this day. I even remember what my portfolio felt like in my hand with everything in it.
Yeah.
And it's been since 2001 since I've touched that thing. This is why I think, because I was thinking about this today, and I'm going to cry a little bit, I think. This is why it is so hard for me to get back into photography.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can't get past that regret of all the beautiful images that I had.
That was a different world. That was a different
it.
you.
It was a completely different me, physically and everything. Like,
Yeah.
no cells in my body are the same cells that were taking those pictures. It's science. But that's at the same time, the emotions are the same. So when I think about sitting down and I think about composing a photograph, and I think, God, I had that. Do I want to recreate that? Or do I want to create something new?
Both.
Both, exactly. So I'm sitting there and I'm coming up with these great ideas, and I was like, oh yeah, but I had that one, that would be so great right now. And then I get all, upset about it. So I
want to kind of comment on that.
Okay.
Or draw kind of a correlation. Like I pulled out a bunch of poetry that I wrote when I was in college, and because I'm trying to put together a kind of a collection of poetry because I want to do a book maybe within the next year.
Yeah.
And so I pulled out all this old stuff, and so I was just like, oh, let's see what this is about. And this is all the stuff that back in college that I just thought was fantastic.
Right.
And I submitted it to journals, and I was just like, why didn't they accept this? And I was just, I read it, and I was like, this is all shit. This is like the worst. Why would I even expect it to? And not only that, but things that I wrote 2 years ago, I was looking at and going, wow, really? So there's something to be said about growing and reflecting. Mm-hmm. And I'm the kind of person who does that a lot, where I will burn my past works. You shouldn't do that, but I can relate, because I will do that a lot. I look back on it, I'm not there anymore, and you did it for completely different purposes. But right. I don't really have a problem anymore with going back and recreating, because those were legitimate feelings you had. But now you'll never be able to do those feelings because you didn't have the same perspective you have now.
Nope.
So it's not going to be the same.
Nope.
You're basically doing a version of that, or I will write poetry now based on feelings I had when I was in high school, or my first marriage, or whatever. But it
won't come out the same as it would have then.
No, but it's just now I go back and I go, how did I feel at that time? And I'll reach in and I'll pull out those kind of feelings, and I try to deal with them there.
Yeah.
But you'll never be able to go back. And so even if you try to recreate that, you're not going to recreate it. It's going to be where you are now. And I just say, do it. Don't worry about it. Just do it.
Yeah.
One day you're going to be sitting here doing the podcast 20 years from now. And you're going to say, one of the things I lost is I had an opportunity to do photography 20 years ago, and I didn't do it. And now I'm thinking I should have done it. And if only I had done it, I would have had 20 years. I don't know. Just do it.
Just do it. I know.
Life is over so quick. Just do your shit. Do it.
Do your shit.
Let it get over.
It's my medium of choice, and always has been ever since I've.
Well, I knew you were a photographer, and I remember when I was taking some pictures once, and I had my camera, and you were like, let me take some pictures, and you took some pictures, and I was like, okay. And then I looked at them, and I was like, holy shit, these are good. They're so much better than mine. But yeah, and I've tried to get you to do it for years. I think you should get back into it.
Okay, thanks. Yeah. So that would. Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I don't know. So, okay, getting back into this, I have a similar poetry story, but I'm not going to tell it right now because, again, it was the exact same story you just told. I had notebooks and notebooks and notebooks of poetry that if I were to read today, I would probably laugh until I was in tears.
It's like a diary.
Unfortunately, one of those pieces of poetry, and for those of you that know me from high school, if anybody from high school is listening, one of those is memorialized in my high school yearbook.
Oh, yes.
I think it's called The Awaiting Ones. Just I'll let you go with it from there.
Well, I mean, I know what you're talking about. I was the cartoonist on the school newspaper,
Right.
and they're all saved. And I go back and look at them and go, "Holy crap!
That's crap.
How did I get that job? It's so bad."
So regarding this box of lost things, and I know we're going on, and we can probably save some of this for another podcast.
You got one more.
Okay. My conceptual part.
Yes.
And I think okay. Given this huge box, because my box would be huge of things that I've lost. Not my box.
Go ahead.
Really?
I'm not saying a word.
I'll just say,
said,
I have.
Okay, go ahead.
Can I just say this?
What? I don't know.
I have a tiny box.
You do. I'm not even. That's wrong. I don't know what that means.
Okay. Anyways, box of things I've lost is rather large, and one of the things that I would go searching for, and I think this is true of every single person you ask this question: time.
Oh, okay.
Time.
Time.
The
I mean, I totally agree.
The time that you lost worrying, the time that you lost stressing, the time that you lost
on Facebook,
the time that you lost, doing shit that you didn't want to do. Those things are the things that I would probably go searching for first. Those that lost time.
Sure.
Because how much could you do with that time now? I look at last week and I think I had so many opportunities to get the shit I still have to get done. Did I do it? No.
No, and it's all going to be highlighted when you're 80 or 90.
Exactly.
I mean, you're going to be just like, oh, I just wasted so much time that I'd like to have back.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to me it feels, well, it's lost now. It's wasted. That's one way to put it, but it's lost.
But I just feel like that's why you do photography. That's why you put on a kilt for a year. Mm-hmm. That's why you go to Mardi Gras and show your boobs. Mm-hmm. You it doesn't really matter what other people think. You just do what's fun. Mm-hmm. It's why I do this podcast every week. We don't make any money. Mm-mm. I don't think we have that many listeners. I don't care. But every once in a while, I'll think we need to stop the podcast. And I go, no. I love this. It's fun. It's just like, do what you like to do. Keep doing it. Who cares if people like it? If you're having fun, there'll be 2 or 3 people, and then maybe you're lucky and you have 2,000 or 3,000, and then it grows or whatever. But it's just like you only have every moment is passing away. You only have so much time. Mm-hmm. And I talked about this last week, I'm at a point where I have to kind of look at things and go, I don't have the time to do that anymore. I'm not going to get into this, but it's like one of those things that I kind of eliminated last week to you and told you I wasn't going to do it.
Yeah.
That suddenly came back. I was just like, uh-oh.
Because you thought about it.
No, some opportunity. But anyway, I just feel like that's what we all just need to do. That we all just need to fill up our time, not with Facebook. If you're good at Facebook, do that. But I mean, just fill it up with things that make you happy.
If Facebook makes you happy, fine. We're not judging. But if Facebook is a time suck, get the hell off Facebook.
I think for more people, and especially creative people, for me, I like Facebook, and I have a part of it, keeping up with friends. A part of it is creativeness, but it's also, man, it sucks creativity out of a person too.
I just get bored. I just flip through it and I'm like, okay, saw that.
Speaking of bored, I think half of our listeners are bored, so we should close down.
They're either bored or gone at this point. I don't know.
They learned a few things about us. We don't often reveal.
Is this our longest podcast?
No, it's not longest, but we often reveal things about ourselves in our podcast, and we probably did a little more today than we usually do.
Maybe the next reveal will be in video.
I will like to remind you, next week we got a great show. We're going to be talking about legal stuff, grand jury stuff, secret, wonderful cases. Man, you're going to want to hear what happened on some of these cases. I can't believe it. And the four-person. That just sounds, it's hard to, I know that's proper.
Social justice warrior just came out.
I know that's proper, but four-person, no one knows what that means. So I'm just trying to say this was the head person.
The four-person.
Even that sounds weird. Of the grand jury. And she's going to be here, and we're going to talk about things that happened, which will be kind of fun. And I think she might play some of the games with us. But let us know what you think about things that we talked about today. thisepicdisaster@gmail.com. Drop us a line, and next week we'll talk about that, about you.
Of course.
And your experience. If you do have an experience in relationships that you would like to get some answers for. Just send Cheri an email and she will let you know, because we do some relationship counseling free. Other people charge lots of money for it. We'll do it for free. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on YouTube, Instagram. We're on Instagram.
So, sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's about it. What do you think of the beer? I love cartoon voices. Cartoon
That's not
noises.
a voice. That's not a voice.
Reminds me of the Flintstones.
Yeah.
I always you know how Bugs Bunny, Flintstones, like when they're going to start running, they would always jump in the air and their feet would go for a few seconds before they started going. Then they'd go.
That's my dog.
That's what I wanted to do.
When she comes into your house, because she's so excited to see her friends, and her feet just go on the floor while I have a hold of her by her leash, and she doesn't realize she can't move.
But I always wanted to do that with that noise.
Yes.
And then there's another thing that I wanted to be able to do, and I can't hardly explain this, but turning a corner, like you're running and you're turning a corner, and I could do it. I could visually do it.
Yes.
I might record a video of it. You
might not be able to do it anymore.
Yeah, that's true, and it might look really dumb. But it's just it's this kind of weird little, as you're turning a corner, it's sort of a little hop thing, and then
so it makes it look like you're skidding around the corner.
And then
One thing you used to do all the time that I absolutely love was that you would fake trip.
You would love that. You always said it pissed you off, and it pisses my wife off all the time too.
Which is why I do it.
Which is why I do it.
When you fake trip.
I do it a lot, which is so high school. Anyway, we're gonna talk about the beer. What do you think of Moon Pie?
So
Moon Pie beer.
Moon Pie chocolate Moon Pie stout from Naked River Brewing Company in Chattanooga. It's a good stout.
Yeah,
it's a good chocolate stout.
It's sweet.
It's very sweet,
especially as you start getting down to it.
I could not have more than one.
No.
I have almost finished it.
Yeah,
though.
we're both kind of down to the last fourth, I guess.
Yeah. So I'm a fan. Again, it's fun, especially since the connection to Chattanooga. So,
and I think it tastes moon pie-ish.
I never got any marshmallow out of it, but I get sugar.
Yeah, it's very sweet.
Actual like the flavor. So marshmallow basically is sugar. So maybe that's what I'm tasting.
Sugar. Uh-huh.
Yeah, that must be what I'm tasting. Okay. So I'm getting the chocolate stout with sugar. So yes, it's very sweet. I'm probably going to give it a 3.
That's what I'm giving it, a 3.
Okay.
I rather enjoyed it. I wouldn't say the style of beer. I would say it's a great dessert beer. If you want to sit back and just have a nice beer at the end of the day, dessert and kind of a little moon pie flavor.
Sure.
If you can find one of these beers, grab it.
And enjoy it with a moon pie.
Yeah, please do. And enjoy us with a moon pie. We're here every Monday. We're moon pie worthy.
I think so.
I think so too.
If you're going to sit down and listen to us, you better savor that moon pie, because you have no idea how long our podcast will go.
That's right. And we always thank you for listening. We don't always say your name. If you'd like for us to say your name, just send it to us. Say my name, and we'll just say your name.
Say my name, say my name. Sorry.
That's why we give out nicknames. But anyway, thanks to the people who sent us letters this week. And next week's going to be a good show.
I think so.
Make sure you tune in. And thanks for tuning in this week. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
This is a Violet Jester Media podcast.